Good morning, everybody. It's Jack from Atlantis Water Gardens. Today we are doing my absolute favorite thing, hanging 1,000-pound rocks over an 8-foot deep hole. We are in Wayne, New Jersey today building a waterfall onto a swimming pool. This is a fiberglass pool, so in preparation for the waterfall, they poured a nice thick collar of concrete on the outside. That's going to carry the actual weight of the boulders that are going to make up the waterfall. What makes these jobs so extremely difficult is we have to cut every single one of those boulders that's going to be on the beam with a notch so that it can actually hang into the pool, giving it that look that it's built from the inside out, also giving us a chance to disguise our liner that's going to keep all the water in the system. Instead of just carving out our shelves like a typical waterfall, we're stuck with whatever the beam gives us. So that's the elevation we have to work with. Right now, what we're going to start out by doing is taking our boulders and test fitting them on here to see how they look, how it matches the curve, and how we're actually going to disguise our liner connection that's going to be behind all this, that's going to keep that water in the system. I've started with this boulder here. Now, finding those other 4 rocks is the challenge because they've got to look good, number one, and they've got to act functionally so that we can carry enough weight on the back of the boulder to make it safe to put on the beam. The one I've got here is going to be cut somewhere about here, so we're going to have all that weight of the rock behind it, making it very stable. Now I'm going to go ahead and try and find something to marry up next to this and then continue my way across the beam. We've got a real nice selection of fieldstone boulders. I like this stuff because it's very weathered and it gets kind of blocky, which is what we need for this situation. Now, I'd much rather just build a pondless waterfall behind this pool so that, number one, I can really work the way we usually work. This takes about twice as long to build a pool waterfall as it would a regular waterfall, so that makes it expensive and a giant pain in the neck for me, but that's okay. Let's get it rolling. Four hours in and we're still grinding and chipping, and that's only 2 rocks in. This is going to be a while for us to get those 5 rocks right where we need them to be in order to put them on the beam of the pool. Back to the saw. So we're still cutting rocks here, day 2. It takes an inordinate amount of time to get those rocks cut just where we need them to be so that they can go back on the beam of the pool. This is what it looks like when the bottom's been cut out of it. That's going to allow us to take that rock and set it right on our concrete with some shimming, and the front piece can hang down into the pool. Once the cutting is done, we're going to retest fit the rocks. Then we're going to put our liner in and do a seam attachment to the pool itself. From there, it's like building a regular waterfall. Let's keep cutting. We've gotten all of our edge rocks that are going to be on the beam of the pool cut and set and test fitted. Now we're going to go ahead and put down a layer of concrete cloth. That's going to provide us a cushion, and then we're going to have some underlayment, then our liner, then a few more layers of underlayment, because these rocks are very sharp on the edge. We want to make sure we protect that liner really, really well. The top 3 inches of the pool edge are going to get double-sided seam tape. Then we're going to attach our liner to that. That's going to give us the return into the pool, so any water that makes it behind the rock work actually goes back into the pool instead of escaping. All the joints inside all of our rock work in the waterfall are going to have to be mortared. We usually use foam in our waterfalls, but foam does not hold up in chlorinated water, so we're going to use mortar to make all of our sealing and our gap adjustments. Having all these edge rocks cut and fitted is a good feeling, because that's the hardest part of the job. Now once we get our liner attachment done, we can start to build like a traditional waterfall, minus the concrete in all the joints, but it's going to be very much like we usually do with our waterfalls. We've got a nice, neat attachment there. Our seam tape is actually on the fiberglass pool. Then we rolled our liner right over onto it. We use a solvent to make that attachment. It cures the seam tape to the actual liner as well as the fiberglass. Now that that's in, we're actually going to set our frame rock that goes inside the liner. Then that liner will come up along the outside and we'll pinch it in with a frame rock on the outside, and that will actually be dry out there. So the one here is going to be the last rock that's inside the liner. Then we go outside the liner. Coming back this way, we've got our spill stone, and then another frame rock, and then again we go back to pinching the liner within itself to keep it contained and that water constantly going into the pool. We're finally starting to build up behind our beam rock work to build the rest of our waterfall. We're bringing in soil, doing compaction along the way. Our next level is going to be about 18 inches to 2 feet above this one. Once our fabric and liner comes back, we're going to be installing our rocks that frame out the next waterfall. In the center pooling area, we actually pour concrete. As I mentioned before, we can't use foam because it breaks down in the chlorinated water, so we've got to use concrete to seal up behind our rocks to make the water come over that weir into the pool. I'm feeling pretty good about finishing this today. What do you think, Boley? We're gonna finish today? Maybe?
I think he said absolutely.
I need some more confidence out of you, Boley.
I think he said absolutely.
Well, that's a wrap on this waterfall. Really turned out fantastic. I can't wait to see water flowing in it. Drew's just finishing up raking around the top edges. We've got tons of planting areas all around the waterfall. They're gonna run their coping right up to the edge of this rock and that rock, tying the whole thing in. Manella's gonna get to work on finishing the whole pool deck and their landscaping. The hardest part about building these pool waterfalls is you don't get to plug them in like a pond or a pondless waterfall when you're finished and see what you created. It has been months since I've been back to this property, and Manello did an amazing job back here. The pool and landscape are completely finished, and I just can't believe the Herculean effort they went through to make all this happen. That whole rock ledge came down into the property this far. They hammered everything out, plus the depth of the pool. Enormous amount of work went in before they even started creating anything just to prep this site for what's here now. They've got seating areas every place. Beautiful little couch here. Nice dining table on that side. They've got a fire pit tucked in on the far side. More seating here, and then of course you've got this pool, which looks very inviting. I mean, who wouldn't want to take a dive in here? This looks like an absolute resort back here. Which brings me to the waterfall. I don't know how we could have possibly done a better job with making this look like it belongs here than we did. The key to this project was cutting the notches in all those boulders. The immense amount of work that went into it was well worth it, as evidenced by the boulder inside the water right here. We're down about 3 inches into the water. For me, that's what makes the whole look happen. There's no air gap in between the water and the bottom of the boulder. Looks like it was born in this spot. I feel like pool waterfalls are some of the most difficult waterfalls for us to make look natural, and this one here, I'm definitely proud of the way our team pulled this one off. Even the cut over there coming up onto the ledge, the way Manello brought the coping into each side of the pool boulder, fantastic seamless job. Also for me, what really makes it is the planting they've done. Carrying that landscape all the way into where those plant pockets are, all surrounding that waterfall so that it starts to soften things up. As the seasons go on, these things will fill out, cover more of the rocks, and it'll look like it was just a natural rock formation coming out from what's existing. For us, building waterfalls into swimming pools takes about 3 times as long as building a waterfall into, say, a pond or just a pondless waterfall. When we're able to just shape the earth and make the boulder fit, it goes a lot faster. When we've got to work on a hard structure where there's nowhere to move because it's concrete, it involves cutting and placing things precisely and exactly to make it work with the existing contour. There's no changes allowed because of the structure. So it makes things a lot more difficult and a lot more time consuming, and in the end makes it a lot more expensive than building a waterfall that size into a pondless reservoir or a pond. If you're interested in having a water feature built at your home, whether it's a pool waterfall, fountainscape, pondless waterfall, or a pond, there's a link down below to our website where it's going to give you some ideas on what some of these things might cost. Hope you guys enjoyed this transformation as much as I have. I mean, this is impressive. Not just the waterfall, the whole backyard here has become an absolute resort. Hit that subscribe button. Come on back every week, 4 p.m. on Fridays. We're here bringing you beautiful water features and water feature builds. We will see you on the next one.